that
Right.
plan.
The rent-to-own initiative, it's one that people have been asking about.
This is a very innovative and important thing. So there are basically two categories of persons we have in mind. First of all, there are those who are informally employed. They may be doing their own little business, their own little hustling, or whatever it may be. They may be working for somebody, but that the work place that they're operating at is not a formal business, and they don't have a pay slip. So they can't go into the NHT and establish that they have a certain earning stream because they don't have any documentation to prove it. What we have said is that we would accommodate them by giving them access on a rent basis initially, and for a period of time, and we don't anticipate it would have to be very long, once they can establish, and the rent payments would be equal to their mortgage payments.
Even now, we are still suffering from that. And we need now to develop our contractor pool to be able to take on massive projects. Now, announcing 739 units may sound like a lot, but 739 units compared to the 70,000 that we need to construct, compared to the actual 150,000 that we need to solve the problem, is small. Even the 19,575 that the NHT is going through the process with, that's small relative to the big problem. If we are going to truly and genuinely make progress in providing the houses, we not only have to treat with the financing through the supply side, meaning supporting mortgages and supporting funding for developers, but we're going to actually have to now develop the contracting capabilities to have contractors who can take on mega projects. We would like to see housing projects in the region of 5,000 to 10,000 houses being developed at a time. Because once you start to increase the supply of housing, that is when the price of housing will stabilize and even reduce.
People, Andrew Holness think the Jamaican people born bigger. Him think we are idiot. Him think we are fool. Now, Andrew Holness, we know that you are not trying to make life easier for Jamaican people so that they can own a house. We know say you're not trying to make the house them cheaper because you and your wife are in real estate. So the dearer the house them go, a better it is for you and your wife. Now, you think you can go around and say anything because the election is right around the corner. You're in a power for 9 years, and the 9 years you're in a power for, the housing prices get out of control. People hardly can build one house again. In my previous video, I mentioned that a particular labor right contractor announced that if you not have $15 million, he can't make a house for you. And that $15 million does not include the material money that are just for work, man. So Andrew Holness, not because you feel like Jamaican people them want a better life, you can come and tell me anything to get a better life. Mark Golding have a better plans for the Jamaican people than you, Andrew Holness. But people, we are going to talk about that further on down inside of this video. Blessed morning to my viewers and my subscribers them. May hope everybody having a blessed and a wonderful morning. Now my viewers and my subscribers, remember, in everything you do, always put God first. In every and any situation, just always remember to call upon God. Always remember to pray, because a prayer day keep the devil away. Now my viewers and my subscribers, we have a lot coming up inside this update, so you definitely don't want to miss none. So remember, watch the video till the end, and remember, leave a like on this video. Alright?
We
adoption of a public health approach to violence prevention, as seen in the private sector's Project STAR, aligns with the PNP's earlier initiative, which we call Unite for Change. This model treats violence similarly to a contagious disease and addresses root causes such as poverty, poor socialization, unemployment, and inadequate education. Jamaica has an opportunity to re-embrace this model and lead by example. To solidify the recent gains, Mr. Speaker, we must adopt a comprehensive, holistic approach to crime reduction. We will target interventions on the small percentage of people and places which are responsible for most of the violence. This includes enacting legislation along the lines that we proposed in 2023 for a court-supervised process of pre-charge detention of serious criminals on whom there is credible intelligence.
I want to listen to a leader with vision and a leader that wants the best for his country. Not like the other leader, we just talk.
This will facilitate prosecutable cases being built and charges being laid within a prescribed time frame without violating constitutional rights. Mr. Speaker, we will support law enforcement by extending the Jamaica Eye system of cameras to serve strategic areas that are not presently covered and support it with adequate maintenance arrangements. Mr. Speaker, we will balance law enforcement with prevention. Law enforcement must focus on violent offenders, but community programs are needed to address underlying causes of violent crime, like poverty and trauma and social exclusion and lack of opportunities. This dual strategy reduces harm and fosters trust between communities and police. And Mr. Speaker, I want to take this opportunity to big up and thank the brave members of the Jamaica Constabulary Force who put...
This is how a confident and a real leader talk. Not like such man we have the Jamaican Constabulary Force in him own pocket or do him own thing, not to serve and protect the people of Jamaica. There you go, Mark Golden. Continue.
Their lives on the line for all of us every day. They too need the benefit of a proper balance of policies that can bring down crime even further and achieve sustainable benefits for our people. Mr. Speaker, we will invest in individuals who are at risk, especially our youth, through a strategy of social transformation. This will help individuals manage anger, impulse behaviors, and conflicts. It will support programs that interrupt cycles of violence, like the Peace Management Initiative, and address the root causes of violent behavior to mitigate or reduce the likelihood of future offences. It will also provide training for employment and entrepreneurial opportunities, financial literacy, conflict resolution, and overall civility. We have to get into the lives of those who are at risk of going down the wrong pathway and take them off of the wrong pathway and put them on the pathway to productive citizenship. And Mr. Speaker, we will rely on data and evidence, using rigorous data analysis to guide policy decisions, to assess the effectiveness of our programs, and to ensure that resources are allocated efficiently. While the reduction in crime celebrated today is a step in the right direction, the journey is far from over. Enforcement alone is not enough. Jamaica has to address the underlying conditions that perpetuate violence. By building peace, law and order from the ground up, the nation can pave the way for a brighter and safer future.
Welcome back to my viewers and my subscribers them. Big up to all of my viewers, big up to all of my subscribers them. We continually support the channel and help the channel to grow. Now my viewers and my subscribers, a blessed and a wonderful morning to each and every one of you. May God continue to bless and keep you all. and guide and protect you. You understand me? I say, remember, prayers do work. A prayer day keep the devil away. Now, people, Andrew Wallace claim that he's going to make house cheaper, or he's trying to make house cheaper for the people of Jamaica. Now, when him say the people of Jamaica, I know him talk about the people them in the upper class, the uptown people them, not the ghetto people them. Because since Andrew Holness gained power in 2016, a scheme house, I want to talk about a scheme house, right, jump from 7 million or 6 million or 5 million in the price range there to $20 million now. 25 million, 30 million. Just for build a house for somebody right now, you have to have $130 million for build one 2-bedroom under Andrew Holness administration. Now, he's talking about contractor this and contractor that. First thing, you make the price of the material them gone sky high. You make the price of land gone sky high. Every single thing in this country gone out of the reach of ghetto people. One of the reasons why you do all of that is because you and your wife are in real estate. Uno make housing scheme. Uno I go around and I make housing scheme all over Jamaica and I sell back the house them. So uno have to make the price of housing expensive. You understand me? I say, poor man can't buy phone house. But you know, I'm going to make it look like, say, yeah, you are going to make house where people can afford. No, you're not do that. Because you don't want to get a youth to have nothing at all. In the first place, you prefer take one bulldozer and push down poor people house. You are wicked, heartless. Now, Mark Golding is a much better and honest leader than you, Mr. Man. But people, me I go make on hear what Andrew Wallace had to say, and then let you know what Mark Golding had to say.
Formal housing development has been very slow. And in the last 3 decades, housing developments have been in such a state that it has not kept pace with the demand that exists for housing. And so there developed over the last 3 or 4 decades a serious housing gap of about 150,000 housing solutions. And you get a sense of that housing gap, as the chairman of the HAJ pointed out. When he advertised 600 units, how many units you advertised, remind me? He advertised 140 housing units and 600 persons turned up. But we see this before. At Catherine Estates, we advertised something like 1,000 units and 1,600 units and 11,000 persons applied. So the demand for housing is great, and that demand that exists is precisely because the supply side of housing slowed down dramatically over those 3 or 4 decades. And that slowdown was primarily because our economy wasn't functioning properly. But more than that, we did not have the resident skills in construction to take on mega projects. And so even now we are still suffering from that. And we need now to develop our contractor pool to be able to take on massive projects. Now, announcing 739 units may sound like a lot, but 739 units compared to the 70,000 that we need to construct, compared to the actual 150,000 that we need to solve the problem, is small. Even the 19,575 that the NHT is going through the process with, that's small relative to the big problem. if we are going to truly and genuinely make progress in providing the houses, we not only have to treat with the financing through the supply side, meaning supporting mortgages and supporting funding for developers, but we're going to actually have to now develop the contracting capabilities to have contractors who can take on mega projects. We would like to see housing projects in the region of 5 to 10,000 houses being developed at a time. Because once you start to increase the supply of housing, that is when the price of housing will stabilize and even reduce. Once we start to get into the size of housing developments that gives the economies of scale. To get that, we not only have to attract the contractors that have the skill and develop our local contractors with the skills, we must also find the lands that are suitable for development. And that has been another critical constraint on us expanding the supply side of housing, finding the land. And the third element is to have the budget to put in place the infrastructure.
The first man me see love talk about infrastructure, and him now build no infrastructure. All him a do a mash up Jamaica. All him a do a destroy Jamaica. Somebody say something to me since evening, or somebody leave a comment on one of my video, and the person I say, royalty, you know why Andrew Wallace now go fix the road them? Because he is in partnership with the parts place them. Them a give him fee him like took when the car them mash up and parts have to sell. So him now want to fix up the road them, and then the auto parts place them now gonna make no money. So that's why him have to make sure say the road them stay in a bad condition. You know, see him say him gonna fix the road and a patch them and left some big bump in the road. When you lick the bump them, it come like say, I want 3 thump, you run over. This man is so evil. He is so wicked. Him now try to make life no better for the Jamaican people them. But let us hear what Mark Golden had to say, people.
Brother, me talk of my own experience, you know. I experience teaches wisdom. The experience is what I have with the both side, brother. I choose the side now. If you tell us that this side is more eligible for run the country.
To the PNP's proposal, why is ours superior?
Well, we have a multi-dimensional set of proposals for housing in the country, really to transform the housing market and the supply of houses. There's a great shortage of affordable houses being built in the country, because although there's been a lot of real estate construction, it has really been more at the high end of the market, and that's out of the reach of typically public servants and other persons who are not, earning big money. So we want to tackle that, and we want to ensure that affordable housing solutions are provided to our people. So one of the things that we're doing for the public sector workers, including our teachers and nurses, our police and so on, we're reinstating the interest rate reduction. They get a discount. They used to get a discounted rate at NHT, and that was taken away by this government. We're going to reintroduce that. So they will get a break on the interest payments that they have to make on their NHT loans. We also want to have a situation where they are allocated allocated homes in NHT finance schemes on a preferred basis, so that they can get in the door, so to speak. And then for the younger persons who are seeking to buy their first homes, who, as long as they've been contributors for at least 2 years
And
into
the
the
young
NHT.
owners a deposit fund.
Yeah, the
of $1
deposit
billion.
fund for 35 years and under. We will provide a grant out of NHT, a $1 billion facility within NHT's resources, has been earmarked for this, of $500,000 for towards a deposit on the on a home, a new home, because a lot of buyers, and this is not limit. This is generally available. We're going to make this available to all first-time buyers, public servants, and others, where they can get that benefit.
You also announced the rent-to-own initiative. What is that? How would it work?
Well, the rent-to-own is very important, but there are a couple of things that I wanted to also mention as well in relation to this public sector workers. Right now, the debt service coverage ratio that the NHT works with is based on a rule of thumb that says that you can only your gross monthly payment, your gross salary must be at least a certain multiple of your loan payment, and that caps how much you can borrow. For public servants who want to make that a little more flexible, so that they can have a more accommodating debt service coverage ratio, so they can borrow a bigger amount.
Currently, the ratio is at 33.8%. I think you said you want to bring that to 40%.
There you go. Yeah.
Right. The rent-to-own initiative, it's one that people have been asking about.
This is a very innovative and important thing. So there are basically two categories of persons we have in mind. First of all, there are those who are informally employed. They may be doing their own little business, their own little hustling, or whatever it may be. They may be working for somebody, but that the workplace that they're operating at is not a formal business, and they don't have a pay slip. So they can't go into the NHT and establish that they have a certain earning stream because they don't have any documentation to prove it. What we have said is that we would accommodate them by giving them access on a rent basis initially, and for a period of time, and we don't anticipate it would have to be very long. Once they can establish, and the rent payments would be equal to their mortgage payments, once they can establish that they can meet those monthly payments on a timely basis, we would treat them as having been qualified, notwithstanding the fact that they can't produce a pay slip. Then there's another category of person who's paying rent already and wants to buy a home but simply can't afford to do so. Their earnings are not sufficient for them to do so. And so what we want to do with them as well is to say you can rent an NHT finance unit, and over a period of time, a portion of that will go towards your deposit. And then once the deposit portion has been accumulated to meet the deposit that you have to have, you can just flip into a mortgage and become a normal buyer at that stage. So you'd rent, a portion of your rental payments would go towards your deposit obligation, and then once you've met that, then you become the mortgage loan is disbursed, and you become an owner and become a normal NHT borrower at that point.
Right. So you're providing, someone who would rent the opportunity to ultimately own the home.
Yes. And that is because that person can't save. Given their circumstances, they don't have the disposable income to save towards a deposit. So they're just getting by paying rent and food and utility bills, etc. And we're saying if you become an NHT purchaser on the rent-to-own scheme, a portion of your rental payments would be credited towards a deposit account, and once that account reaches the level of deposit to buy, boom, you become a borrower, loan disbursed, and you become an owner of the house, and you pay a mortgage going forward.
Right.
Now, Dr. 28, if you really love Jamaica and you want to help Jamaica, the power that you give to the police officers them, if you abuse the people of Jamaica whenever they want, however they want, and wherever they want, you need to take back the power there, because they must overdo it with the people of Jamaica when they deserve to be bullied by them. Dr. 28, I know say you try to drive fear in the people them. But let me tell you this, just call the election so the people of Jamaica can just vote you out. People, I'm going to leave you with this video. And remember, share and like the video and subscribe to the channel.
Yo! Get still your curtain. Look at you in front of the vehicle. Yo, man, let me call in the way. Yo, man, no, man. You go to the station, you make a call. No, you make a call. No, you go to the station. You must go and check the vehicle. No, brother, no, I'm not going to.
So it's difficult to talk about the Jamaican police force versus the citizens of this country and the ghetto youths them. Kind of a difficult topic, because if you're not on the side of the police for those what I call extrajudicial killings, then you are labeled as a supporter of criminals. If you're on the side of the police
supporting their extrajudicial killings. Then you have the ghetto youths them who will never trust or like you because them see you as a mentor, somebody who does not take sides and call a spade a spade. And it puts you in between a rock and a hard place. But you see, I've always learned something that is embedded in me. You must speak it truth. And let that be your guide. The truth shall be an offense to many. When a police officer is on the television giving a report about an incident where they just unalive a citizen, and you speak of coming under fire, meaning whoever is unalived opened fire, and go check the reports, multiple instances, they said that they came under fire, but somehow the gunmen's bullets are always escaping in nearby bushes. It now connect. It just now connect. Am I saying that it should connect? No. But I believe that the Jamaican gunmen who in the past never miss their targets, stick with me, them never miss. That is why we have 1,400 or 1,600 murders per year, because they don't miss. I find it a bit strange and totally off that almost 100 gunmen in all the reports fired after the Jamaican police, and all the Jamaican police and soldiers on that operation came out scot-free, no hurt. 1 and 2, and maybe 2 out of every 50 instances, you probably hear of minor injuries. There are other ways that we could do this. They have something named taser. You could bring a taser gun and you could tase them. Because trust me, they were not shooting at you. Y'all know that they were not shooting at you. Trust me, you all know. Wear the body cameras to show us that you're being fired at. But you don't wear it. Want to turn them off. Millions of dollars were spent on acquiring body cameras. It's just 14,000 police in the force. 14,000. It shouldn't be that hard to get 14,000 cameras. I mean, South Korea was offering Jamaica 400,000 cameras. Want to think a joke? Pull it up. South Korea was gifting Jamaica 400,000 cameras about 2 years ago. And you know something? You know what happened? The government of Jamaica did not accept the gift that they were very much aware of, and were not even taking the phone calls. They were not even taking the phone calls from the South Korean government, that they had to take it to the media that something is definitely wrong. Why the Jamaican authorities or government not accepting our calls and emails to accept a gift that we all agreed on, which was 400,000 cameras. And always forget. You know what those 400,000 cameras were supposed to do? Put up right across the length and breadth of Jamaica so that we can see all of the criminal activities and dirty thinking politicians who are showing up in them private vehicle and meet with gunmen and stuff. Yeah, we were going to see that. And for the much children that are actually going missing in the country, we would see that. And for every little crime we commit in a Jamaica, we would have seen it. But y'all had other alternatives and other ulterior motives. You think I feel good to hear that another Jamaican citizen has been gunned down? You celebrate, and I hear people talking in the chats, and I watch, and I mean hundreds of Jamaicans celebrating the police force for unaliving 100 of our brothers and sisters. Let me tell you this. You see the persons who have been unalived, as a matter of fact, from 2015 till now, the past 10 years, 1,400 and odd persons were gunned down by the Jamaican security forces. 1,400. 1,400. Y'all are celebrating because you think that every report from the Jamaican Constabulary Force is true. The police who have been doing these things, they know themselves. When Renito Adams did the Brayton 7 shootings and the Crawl shootings, y'all called for his head because he unalived men. And remember, in the Brayton 7 shooting, that was where they found the gun that had killed the principal. The gun that had unalived the principal. Yeah? That's where they found it. In a same house. But we called for Renito Adams' head because he was ineffective and he was unaliving citizens. Now look at where we are. 100 since the start of this year, unalived by the Jamaica security forces. And the citizens are lauding their effort because the reports that came in tell we say a gunman. But some of us forget the young man up by Bagwalk who was running from the police. Bagwalk, St. Catherine, who was running from the police. I tried to run up the hill, but it was too steep for him to go. So he gave up and he held his hands in the air. And the police pulled back and fired, unaliving him. Some of you are going to forget about the young man down by Westmoreland, where the family and residents had to block the road. And I'm not going to say nothing never go. So where the young man came downstairs, opened the grill, and the police then pushed him back in the house and brought out an unalived person. And there are many instances we have seen on other cameras where police never knows a setup about the place that caught their illegal activities. And Jamaicans are forgetting that the young men with the guns got these guns from politicians. Politicians breed up these young men, breed them up, turn them into criminals so that they can become their eyes and ears in communities, garrisons, to carry people to vote, bother people to vote, on the sit down in a friggin' country and I celebrate. Police forget that a poor people pitney and a kill off of one another. While politicians sit and steal $3 trillion from the country and do all kind of manner of evil and sell out the country and see them for arrest. Let me tell you something.